Hey guys, and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing okay today. We finally have some questions answered when it comes towards Newcastle United. What is happening with Tonali? When will he do his medical? When will he travel to Newcastle? What's going on with that situation there? Keith Downey has since spoken out and confirmed everything, including the actual transfer value of the player, which is actually significantly less than what's been reported in the media. We also have the situation regarding James Maddison. Why did Newcastle not go in for the player? We have a big answer regarding that from the club, and because of that answer also clarifies a big question surrounding Alan St. Maximin. So it's one of these ones where we're finally getting the information we need, and on top of that as well, we're going to react to a few Tottenham fans and just as overall bitterness, I would say, from both sets of fans when it comes towards these transfers. Newcastle fans coming out saying that we weren't interested in James Maddison. Let's be honest, we definitely were, because we went in with 2 official bids last summer. I know you haven't placed any official bids this summer, but he was always a player Newcastle's target. It was always a player Newcastle were interested in. It's just that opportunities came for Tottenham. They've taken it. Newcastle don't want to pay big money for the player. There's a big reason why as well they haven't went in form, which we'll explain in this video. But anyway guys, I hope you're all doing okay. If you're new around here and you like what you're watching, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, that's what you enjoy. Make sure you let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on the likes of Sandro, Tonali, the James Maddison updates, what's going on here. We'll begin this video off by talking about Keith Downey first, because he updated fans this morning on the social media surrounding when will Sandro Tonali actually come across to St James's Park to be unveiled as Newcastle's brand new sign, when will the second part of the medical take place. And he's confirmed that it will be when the under-21 tournament has finished for Italy. Now, that's quite dependent on the fact that Italy are probably going to go into the quarterfinals. All they have to do is win tonight against a team that's bottom of their group. They do that, they guarantee at least one more match and a possibility of a couple more. So it can be any time from tomorrow onwards the next 2 weeks. I think the timing is quite well actually as well, because no matter what, you'll come up the week before Newcastle's pre-season starts. So he should be ready to go for the Gateshead match, if not Rangers, and then he can go across to America with our first team. He's also said actually that Newcastle have completed every part of the deal, and that everything's been sorted, all of this negotiation, everything's been done and dusted. There's no concern whatsoever, and I think that's a big clarity to fans that I might be a little worried that nothing's happened in terms of reports on Tonali. But everything is sorted now. It's been sorted for at least a decent amount of time. It's one of these ones where it's just that information's came out. What I do find interesting though is the fact that Keith Downey has said that Newcastle have actually only spent around £55 million on the player, which is actually way less than what was reported in the media. So Newcastle have actually got themselves Tonali for around about the same price that James Maddison would have cost. And bear in mind as well that Tonali is 23 years old. He's someone that I fully believe has the potential anyway to be one of the world's best players, whereas James Maddison's someone that's in his prime now. I think Tonali's ceiling's a lot higher, and I think the problem with James Maddison's always been as well the English tax. It's just a massive tax on English players when it comes towards Premier League clubs. So we have been smart about this. We'll talk about James Maddison a little bit more in a minute, but I think the Tonali side of things, it's a bit of a no-brainer. I think we've got a good deal out of this, and I mean, the more you hear about this deal, the better it is for Newcastle. Again, this is somebody I've only seen us getting because of the fact we're in the Champions League. Is someone that I wouldn't have ever classed a realistic sign, to be honest. The fact that Newcastle got this one to the door so early as well makes me extremely excited to see what happens in the rest of the transfer window. But that information is important to get across, so we actually understand everything that's happened surrounding this deal now. Everything's done and dusted. We've got the confirmation there. There's no need of this, I guess, this anxiety anymore. We're no longer that football club. We've got what we need to get done, and that's the most important part for us. I'm currently recording this video now, guys. There's actually been 2 major updates surrounding Newcastle transfer targets that puts us in quite a negative situation. And despite being in Champions League football, we've still got a massive problem where we've got to compete with the world's best teams in the transfer market. And we've seen firsthand here how hectic it can be. So Gabby Veiga, we'll talk about him first. That's the Spanish midfielder that Newcastle were heavily linked to a couple of weeks ago. It's now been reported by Fabrizio Romano as an exclusive that Manchester City are entering the race to sign the player. Manchester City were wanting Declan Rice, and Arsenal all of a sudden out of nowhere dump £105 million into him. Got rejected by West Ham, and now West Ham have actually wanted more for Declan Rice. So Manchester City aren't interested at all, and now pick different alternatives. And for Newcastle, this is one straight away where I think right, you're screwed, and there is no way in hell we are convincing this guy to pick Newcastle or Man City. It's not happening at all unless we can guarantee him first team foot, which I don't think we would, to be honest. I think with the signing of Tonali anyway, this is a player that I don't think we would have got. So I don't think this one's too bad, but I definitely think the second one is bad. It's Dominik Szoboszlai. It's actually been reported by Austin that Liverpool want the player. Liverpool are interested in signing the player. Now, there hasn't been any official bids made. It's still a case that they're weighing up their options, but he's definitely someone that Liverpool are keeping an eye on. And I believe in the player side of things as well. He does actually want to put it on the club. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one for sure. Now, Szoboszlai definitely was one Newcastle were interested in. They got reported everywhere in Newcastle. We're keeping an eye on him. Someone I think Newcastle were probably looking at potentially getting in, depending on how the deal structure would have worked with Leipzig, depending on if we play money installments or up front. I think that was a big thing behind that one. Even though Newcastle are in the Champions League over Liverpool, I think Liverpool at the minute is still a better move for more or less any player to make, due to the fact that they're a consistent, regular team. Newcastle, you could argue, even though I wouldn't say it's true, you could argue that Newcastle are just a one-season wonder at this point, which I think it's harsh, but the truth and the reality is that Liverpool, you're expected to win major honours. Newcastle, we haven't done that in well over 50 years, so we still have to get towards that stage where we can actually convince people to pick us over the likes of Man City and Liverpool. It's just not happening at all at the minute, so that's a big concern. We'll see how this one transpires, but these are not great reports that come out surrounding us today. I wanted to talk about the important part of the James Maddison transfer, because it's been reported on the Newcastle United side of things that we didn't want to sign James Maddison in the end, because we were unsure on how the defensive part of the team would work with adding St. Maximin and James Maddison in the same starting 11, which I think is quite an interesting quote by Luke Edwards if it's correct, because, well, I think that more or less confirms that Newcastle United wants to keep St. Maximin. Now, on the player side of things, I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, or a month ago now, but especially with his little cryptic goodbye messages, on the player side of things, it seemed a bit off. But in Newcastle's point of view, they do want to keep a hold of the player, which I think is the correct call. It just depends on what St. Maximin wants. And the only exception I can really see to me actually saying this now is if, for example, I'm sure you've seen it already with the Saudi Arabia teams, let's see one of them dubs a stupid amount of money on a player like St. Maximin. That's when I probably could lean towards selling him, but other than that, I don't think it's worth selling him at all. I think especially the important part to me is actually the value of a player. Can we really sign someone that is better than St. Maximin for the amount we're going to sell him for? I don't think we can, to be honest. So someone I would stick by, and I think the fact that it's been reported that Newcastle weren't keen on James Maddison in the end because of the fact they want to start St. Maximin as well, I think it's interesting from Luke Edwards. I think it's definitely a sign of what the club is planning, if it's correct again. I wanted to address the Tottenham fans in this video because it's been spammed over my feed the last day or so about Tottenham fans just taking loads of digs at Newcastle because of the fact that James Maddison's picked them over us. Oh, don't even get me started. These little insecure Tottenham fans. I might actually just make a full video on this because they're hilarious, some of these comments, but they're taking a lot of digs towards Newcastle, and I thought we'd discuss in the video because I think there's definitely bitterness on both sides of things. I mean, Tottenham fans, come on. Let's be honest, you're just Harry Kane FC. Without Harry Kane, what is Tottenham? They're just nouts. You can't even get in European football with Harry Kane. Imagine if he gets so. I don't know how the hell you're going to even function next season. I mean, come on. All these Tottenham fans on social media, let's be honest, you're all a bunch of virgins. I can't imagine any girl out there wanting to touch a Tottenham Hotspur fan. It doesn't happen at all. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why you're taking all these digs at Newcastle. You're insecure, you're worried, you're scared that Newcastle is going to start climbing up that mountain, and all of a sudden Tottenham are no longer that big six. I mean, you could say big six anyway. You don't even win anything, so I don't know how you can class it as a big six team. But yeah, so Toon Post put a tweet out here. Now, to be fair, this one is bait, but a lot of Newcastle fans, honestly, I've seen on my Twitter feed are going, oh, we didn't want James Maddison anyway, we weren't interested. I mean, let's not lie, we definitely did want James Maddison. I said it in the intro, Newcastle put 2 official bids in for the player last summer. We were still interested in the player now, regardless of signing Tonali, regardless of everything else that's happened. I think the fact that the Tonali deal was popped up has put Newcastle's focus elsewhere. But we have always wanted James Maddison. Let's not lie about it at all. Newcastle did want this player in. It's a case where, and Tottenham offered a lot of money. I think especially his wage structure as well. It's higher than a lot of Newcastle's players. Tonali's on a much lower wage. And for a team like us, is James Maddison worth it at this moment of time? I think there's bigger fish to fry, to be brutally honest. I'm not just saying that because I'm bitter. I'm not at all. Yes, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get him, but it's just one of them ones where it's like any transfer, you're going for a player, if it doesn't happen, you look elsewhere. Newcastle were a smart team now, and we will get somebody else. And it's not a case that we're done and dusted in the window like it would have been on the Mike Ashley. It's not that at all. Newcastle are ready now, we're eager to go. And these Tottenham fans, I don't know where this is coming from. I mean, this guy, for example, here, oh, London's much better than Newcastle, getting all political about different regions in the UK now. I mean, come on, let's it's a football game. Like, we don't need to be dissing where we're coming from. It's just mental. These Tottenham fans are so weird. They've been taking pop shots at Aston Villa as well for some reason. I mean, considering the fact that last season you've lost all 4 games in Newcastle and Aston Villa, I don't know where you're getting this arrogance from. Tottenham, you're nothing. Like, what do you want me to say? Didn't win anything with money, didn't win anything without money. What do you want me to say? Newcastle are more likely to win a major honour in the next few years than Tottenham, especially if Harry Kane leaves as well. I mean, yeah, I don't get this at all. But maybe I might make a video on them, just put them down a notch, because I'm sick of their arrogance. I'm sick of just this cockiness. Where's it coming from? You're Tottenham Hotspur, you're not Arsenal, you're not Manchester City. Stop it, you're embarrassing yourselves. But anyway, guys, I thought I'd finish things off there. I am sick of these Tottenham fans. Where are they coming from? Oh, honestly, yeah, the sooner I forget about them, the better. But I just wanted to address that quickly now. I think Newcastle obviously are going to be a little disappointed we haven't got Madison, but it's not the end of the world. Again, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, Tottenham's got a player in, we're going to go elsewhere. I think Madison as well is, I mean, is an interesting one, but Newcastle, I think we can get better options, to be honest. We've seen with Tonali, if a deal comes available, we can just go in and get somebody out of nowhere. I think Newcastle will have targets down. Even the likes of Dominik Szoboszlai and Gabby Vega go away from us, there'll be more targets that we'll just go for. I think Newcastle will be fine. That's the most important part anyway. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below anyway. I appreciate you all watching. Take care, and I will see you all in the next one.